Hi everybody, I hope that you're blessed and that you're doing well. In this video, I would like to discuss missing loved ones during the holiday season. Now, before we get into our discussion, if you haven't had the opportunity to do so, please become a YouTube subscriber to my channel. Just go ahead and hit that red button. Thank you for your support. Now let's get back to our topic, and that is missing loved ones during the holiday season. The holidays are supposed to be happy, it's supposed to be full of joy, but the reality is that it's a tough time for many people because we think about our loved ones who have passed away. We miss them a lot. Every single day we think about them, and it's particularly tough when big holidays happen and they're not with us anymore. So in this video, I would like to offer just some ways of coping and some ways of managing your grief, because to be honest, you never really get over the loss of a loved one, whether that person was your mother or your father or your spouse or your child or your grandparents or a sibling or an aunt or an uncle or a cousin or a best friend. You don't really get over the loss of very significant people in your life. But what we can do, what I find to be helpful, is to manage grief and to make sure we manage it in a very healthy way, where it's not debilitating, where we don't sink into depression, where we don't do self-destructive things. And grief can lead you down that path. So there's just some tips that I would like to offer, and just some ways that I think that you and I could, get through the holidays and, with peace and with comfort, and that's really my prayer for each and every one of you that's watching this video, that you do have peace and that you do find comfort, although that very special person is no longer physically here with you, but they're here with you in spirit. So the first thing that that we should not do is we should not ignore our grief. So that's the first strategy. That's the first thing. Do not ignore how you're feeling, because as you suppress it, or if you suppress it, it may express itself or come out in a very unhealthy way if you don't go through the emotion of the sorrow whenever it hits you, because sometimes we don't know when it's going to hit us, and it can hit us at a very inconvenient time, and we may be doing something and it might just jog a memory, or we may be in a place and we may think of that individual, or we could be decorating the tree and bam, it just hits us. And I just would like to say to you, do not ignore how you feel. Just it's painful, and I know it's sad, but I think you should ride that wave and it will pass. So if you feel like crying, step away and cry. And I found that to be very helpful. If you whatever emotion that you're feeling at the time, even if it's anger, or even if it's just sadness, I just would like to offer you to go through it, because I think that's healthy management. I think it's unhealthy when we ignore it. It's unhealthy when we suppress it, because like I said earlier, it may come out in very maladaptive ways. And one of the ways to manage it is not to ignore it. And actually, when we suppress grief, it can make us physically sick. It can do all sorts of things. It can bring on depression. So what you want to do is when a sorrow does hit you, just, for lack of better words, ride the wave. The second thing that you should do is as you ride that wave, in grief, when the grief does hit you, when the sadness does hit you, the next thing you should do, the next step you should take, is to invite God into your grief. When our loved ones pass on, people say to us, and they mean well, and they're like, I know how you feel. And it's like, nobody really knows how you feel but you, right? But there's another one who knows how you feel, and that's God. God knows exactly how you feel. So the best point of action is to invite him into that grief process and how you're feeling. And in that moment, when you feel the sadness, in that moment when you feel the loss, that's when you start praying. And you say to God, listen, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I'm gonna cry about this. I'm gonna cry over this person. I'm gonna cry because I miss them. And I'm just going to sit here for a minute. I'm going to take a break, take a pause, but I want to invite you in, and I need you to comfort me. I need you to bring me some peace. I need you to help me to understand, because when people leave our lives, sometimes we don't understand, especially if it's a situation when they have left us suddenly and it didn't make any sense to us. So at that moment, you invite God into your grief, and what he will do and what his spirit will do, it will begin to lift the heaviness of the burden of sorrow that's sitting and resting on us. So as we ride the wave, and you got to ride the wave when it hits you, invite God into the process. And what he'll begin to do, he will begin to comfort you. And each time I felt the sorrow of the pain and I have invited God in, he has lifted it, and I was able to push right through it and then continue on with my day. So that's the second thing you should do. And also, what I have found to be very helpful, find someone that you can trust and that who's a good listener, and talk to them. It's good to express yourself and to find someone that you have a relationship with and that you're cool with, and that who will listen to you talk about your loved one, and you know, as you remember them. So if you need someone to talk to, if you're not feeling good about how you're feeling, it's definitely good to talk to another person about it. And this is just a side note, like for if you happen to be the person that someone comes to, or if you find that someone is expressing that they miss their loved one and they're talking to you about that person, what I really want you to do, now this is counseling 101, what I really want you to do, I don't want you to kind of like bring up, you know, your loss. Because if you're going to be there for a person, be there for a person. Like for instance, I lost my dad about 2 years ago. And if someone comes to me and they tell me that they lost their father and that their father died, I'm not going to start talking about my dad. You know, sometimes we mean well, and, you know, we use that as most of us, I would hope, use it, you know, as empathy. So the person could relate and know that we have experienced a similar thing. But the best course of action, if someone comes to you and they want to talk about their loved one that is no longer with them or us, is to allow them to just speak and just to listen. And you don't have to talk about your losses in life. I think that's the most powerful and loving thing you can do to another person, is to just listen to them and let them be in that moment and allow them to get it off of their chest and allow them to release. So, because what the talking is that conversation is really a release. So allow that person to release what they're feeling, because really what they're releasing is their grief. So listen. So going back to finding someone to talk to. And also I have a few steps on how to have a happier holiday. So I'm just going to do a quick recap. Don't ignore your grief. Invite God into your grief and find someone to talk to. All of these things have been a tremendous help to me, as I have lost many people over the past few years. Very important people, very significant people. But when I have followed those steps, I have found it to be helpful. Also, here's some ways to have a happier holiday. So number one is I think it's helpful to find ways to honor our loved one or loved ones. So for instance, my family recently had a Christmas party, and my aunt who passed away, my beloved aunt who passed away about 2 years ago, she was a very creative person and very intelligent person and pretty awesome person. And she had wrote a play called A Very Womanly Christmas. And we performed that play for the family 2 years in a row. So that play is actually a play that she has written, is actually a way that we honor her, or a way to honor her during the holiday season. So whatever it is, whether it's your loved one's favorite dish that they like or that they cooked, or a recipe that they passed on in the family, if you just want to cook that, or maybe establishing something in their honor, or having maybe a little special ceremony, or you go around a table and you just talk about that person, however you choose to honor that person, whether you go to church or you have a prayer. However you choose to honor that person, I think that it's helpful to, in a way, still include them, although they're not here. So find a way to honor them, and I find that it brings me great joy to be able to honor the people that I love, that were important in my life. For instance, also, I wasn't in a holiday spirit and I didn't want to decorate, but I knew my dad was a big Christmas person, and so I decorated in honor of him. So just find ways to honor that person or those persons or those people. The next thing is to maybe do something different. Maybe do something out of the box, something that you haven't done before. That's a way that usually cheers me up. Last year, I didn't do the traditional open your gifts and stay at home and cook and eat all day. Basically, what I did, I went out to eat. I went to a really swanky place and had a great Christmas dinner and created a new memory. So create new traditions, create new memories, do something different. If you haven't traveled during the holiday season before, or whether it's Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever holiday you celebrate during this time of year, travel, do something different. But I found when I do different things and when I try new things during the holiday time, that it's helpful to me or for me. So maybe it'll be helpful to you. Also, last but not least, don't see the loss of a loved one as a loss. See them as a gift. So don't focus on what you have lost or that they're no longer with you or with us. Focus on the gift that they were. So I see all of the people that have passed away, have transitioned on to the next life. I see them as gifts. So this time of year, I especially think about my father because he loved Christmas so much. And I think about his mother, my grandma Gloria, because she was also a big Christmas person. And I look at it like this, and I miss them a lot during this time of year. I look at it like this. I had 15 fantastic and wonderful years with an amazing grandmother. What a gift that was to have a grandmother like her. I had 37 years with a wonderful father. I couldn't have asked for a greater dad. What a blessing. And it's that time that I express gratitude for the gifts of whoever I lost. As soon as I think about them during this time, I just think about the time as a gift. And then as I express my gratitude, I begin to thank God for the time that I had with them. And then I think about it, some people have never known their grandparents, and I had wonderful grandparents and they're no longer with me, but I had that time with them. Some people never knew their dad, but I had a dad who was constantly in my life, and he was just like my best friend. So when you think about the blessing, however that person has blessed you in your life, focus on the gift that they were and that they continue to be in their memory. And I found that looking at things from that angle has helped me a lot during my time of grief and sorrow as the holidays have rolled around. But I do wish each and every one of you a happy holiday. I wish each and every one of you peace and comfort and love. And may God's grace strengthen you during this time. I know it's very difficult for some of you, but you'll be able to move through it. You'll be able to manage it. And I believe that you'll have a great holiday season. So I just wanted to share those things with you. Hopefully it's a blessing. If it's been a blessing to you, share this video with someone who you think might need to hear this message. I thank you all again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and God bless.